You're listening to Chatcast with your host, Tracee Dunblazier, the award-winning podcast that features interviews with luminaries of the mind-body-spirit marketplace. You'll hear from book authors and publishers, store owners and product creators, filmmakers, musicians, and many more, who'll all share insight and wisdom to help open your eyes to new creative possibilities. If you fancy yourself as a visionary thinker, then Chatcast is the place for you. Now, here's your host, spiritual empath, shaman, and best-selling author, Tracee Dunblazier.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chatcast. It is 12 noon here on the Pacific Coast. And I'm so glad that you're going to tune in and listen to us today. I've got a very special guest. She is, her name is Margaret Ann Lembo. She's an award-winning author, aromatherapist, and the owner of the Crystal Garden in Florida. Margaret Ann is the author of 11 books, 7 oracle decks focused on gemstones, angels, aromatherapy, and the power of positive thought. Margaret's latest book is The Essential Guide to Archangels and Saints, right here. And I even wore a matching robe. So take a minute and say hello to Margaret Ann.
Hello. Hi.
Nice to see you.
It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for having me on your special Chatcast.
Yes.
I love it.
It's a cast of chat.
Your intro is beautiful. I love it.
Oh, wonderful. How are you doing today? What's going on?
Well,
Over
it's
there.
3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Florida, and
Yes.
in South Florida, so Palm Beach County. It's a beautiful day out, and
Nice.
I've had a day mostly of doing some organizing, but also some writing, which I'm sure you're familiar with. When
Uh,
I'm not at my store, I have to be sitting at my desk and getting the books done.
yes, there's always something new to work on. Are you working on a new project?
I am. I'm working on a 12-book series, but I'm not quite
What?
yet ready to reveal exactly what it's all about, but it will be really cool.
Wow. Well, a
I
12-book
know.
series is a huge undertaking, and you can't give it a little taste of the topic or
Everything that I do is
okay.
associated with crystals, angels, aromatherapy, the power of positive
Okay.
thought, animal allies, the
Okay.
archangels, Bach flower remedies,
Okay.
aromatherapy. So that is all going to be interwoven throughout this series. So I
Wow,
can say that.
that is amazing. I can't wait to see it. So tell us. So I'm going to show people the Archangel and Saints book. It's a wonderful, very interesting book on all different aspects of angels, and then incorporating chakras and divine guidance and a deeper understanding of the history of the angels and saints. So tell us how you became an expert in this.
Well, I don't really love to call myself an expert in anything, to be honest with you, even though I could possibly. I just, because so much research still had to go into doing this. So I was born and
Oh,
raised,
absolutely.
right? I mean, how could I know that?
Yeah.
But I was born and raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. And
Uh-huh.
so angels and archangels were very, very like solid or very palpable in my life. And, you
Yeah.
know, from a very young age, even I remember not only in school where we'd have our little guardian angel on our chair with us, but all the
Mhm.
way to, falling asleep and having a nightmare, and my sister saying, you can see the angels around you, and I would envision the angels at such a
Right.
young age. And so
Right.
I never lost that childlike connection with the divine. I think,
Yes.
I'm a little childlike,
Yes.
my personality.
Now, when you say that, you're in Catholic school and there's an angel on your side, what is? I mean, I know what you mean. I know what that is, but I mean, is that something that you experienced, or is that something that you were taught?
I think it was more that I was taught it, and then I allowed myself to
Okay.
experience the feeling and knowing and
Okay.
the belief in
Okay.
my guardian angel protecting me. So then once that came as a thought that is possible, then
Right.
became
Blossomed.
manifest, it became
Yeah.
manifest. And so that really, and that's great for us to remember, I think, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what our age is,
Right.
who doesn't want the feeling of a divine being guarding you,
Yeah.
a guardian angel? Who doesn't want a guard, right?
Absolutely. And right now the feeling of safety is so upfront and profound because so many people. I mean, I think the idea of safety is an illusion. Unless you really like, I've had experiences. I've been mugged before and had my angel go whoop.
Did you really?
And it's really I felt it happen, and the dude kind of backed up off me, and I'm like, yeah, you did.
Oh,
You know,
that is so beautiful.
so
Thank goodness, too.
right. But
Yes.
but safety, safety is a thing that people need to, really, I guess, call on. That it's something that you have to choose for yourself. Nobody can give it to you, I guess, is what I'm feebly trying to spit out.
No, you're not being feeble at all. It's that this belief or a knowing within ourselves that we're always divinely protected. So for when times or times when I'm feeling like a little about whatever, whether it's
Yeah,
in a driving situation or in a store where somebody's acting weird or whatever, um,
yeah,
I do rely and fall back on that. I am always divinely
mhm,
protected. I'm always at the right place at the right time with the right people, and I just
yes,
hold that as part of my energy field. And then I believe, because I believe that, it
yes,
becomes true. And
yeah.
so far, knock some wood in the old fashioned way. I'm knocking.
Exactly. I absolutely find that to be true too. So if we were to, maybe I'm gonna, or maybe you would like to pull. You have a copy of your book with you.
It's like sitting right here. When you were looking down, I was going like this.
So I love to do bibliomancy with books, and this is a great one to do it with. Is to just choose a page and to go to any passage
Yeah.
as a message to people.
I call it, you're so fancy. Bibliom. So how did you say that? I don't even know how to say it.
It's a
I,
real
I
thing.
call it magic book. That's exactly the same thing. But
Yeah, uh,
say the word?
bibliomancy.
I can see it written.
It's
Okay, very good.
biblio and then muncie.
Mouncy. Cool. Okay, here it comes. So
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And who are we and where are we? Let me get to her actual her. I say I think it's a her. It is St. Francis Cabrini. So I grew
Okay.
up knowing about St. Francis Cabrini. I used to wear like even a medal on our little school ties. We had these school ties and
Uh-huh.
then you attach the medal to it.
Oh,
And it was St.
wow.
Francis Cabrini. So she was known as Mother Cabrini, and it's
Uh-huh.
because this saint is someone who is so predominant in helping immigrants feel safe in, speaking of safety, I presume in New York City. I'm trying to remember exactly where she landed. I know she went to Italy and
Okay.
was in Italy or is Italian, and then yeah, she's actually she's in Manhattan still. Her body.
Oh, wow.
In 1931, her body was exhumed, partially incorrupt, and placed under glass in the altar at St. Francis Cabrini Shrine in Manhattan. So,
Wow.
and yeah, so
Mhm.
this was this. So I what I that is actually my eyes did fall on incorrupt when I opened the book.
Right.
That is the page where it fell, was it right over here? And
Right.
when I didn't know that word to be associated with saints until I did this research, because
Uh-huh.
it was surprising to me how many saints, after they pass, their bodies don't decay. That's what incorrupt means. The body doesn't fall apart,
Okay.
it doesn't decay. And some of them are partially incorrupt, but some of them are just still in their form. I remember seeing one when I went to Paris. It
Right.
was Saint Catherine Labor, who was
Uh-huh.
the saint that saw a lady of the miraculous medal. Have you heard of the
Right.
miraculous medal? So she had that apparition in Paris, France, and
Right.
her body and I think the body of her mother superior are incorrupt in that church.
Wow, that's so interesting. I've heard of that for ascended masters.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, but I hadn't. I don't know that I knew that about saints. That is so interesting,
There's
and
a,
that's so interesting that she's a patron saint of immigration
I
and
think this,
immigrant or immigrants.
I hope I'm remembering right. It might it be Saint the who's the Elizabeth. Elizabeth, give me a second. There's another one. There's so many saints to
There
even
really,
choose. Like
no, there
what am I
really
going
are.
to what to put in the book? You
Yes,
know, I had to do the ones that I related to growing up. You know,
yes.
that's how I approached it. No, you know what? It might have been Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton, which is the page right before Saint Mother Cabrini.
Okay,
She was the one that she set up Catholic schools and set mostly for Italian.
okay.
Or maybe they both did. Maybe that's why I'm getting them confused. There's so this is encyclopedic, this book.
Yes,
So
yeah. Yes.
the part that I have written about like the saint itself, I
Hmm.
had to do all that research. I didn't, there's no
Oh,
way.
of course.
But then once I had that information, and some of them I knew a little about because I grew up with them, so to
Right, of
speak. They
course.
were my friends energetically.
Yeah.
Then I could relate it to. So, what colors and crystals would help a person connect with this particular saint?
Hmm.
So,
Right.
we could look. Let's see. So, for Saint Frances Cabrini, that's Mother Cabrini.
Uh huh.
So labradorite, moonstone, so the
Okay.
divine feminine vibe would
Yeah.
be very important. Um,
And what is she the patron saint of then?
she's for protection and to help you during difficult times when you have
Okay.
setbacks. They don't
Okay.
always have a patron saint of associated with
Right.
it. That's mainly for
Of
when you have
course.
setbacks, like health setbacks, any kind of setback in your life. She would be um, very good. And she also was known to restore the sight of a baby.
Well, that's
Uh,
interesting.
blinded by the wrong amount of silver nitrate solution. Interesting. Like a lot
Yeah.
of to become a saint, they had to create a miracle.
Right.
Some
Right.
of
They
them, the
were
miracles happened after they passed away, which is an interesting thing.
so. Well, I'm like.
How does
So
that happen?
so that means that so they've passed on, and so works that they have done then breed results after they've passed, or they're in spirit and they produce these
In
results.
spirit, and people pray to them, and
Got it.
like they have different, ways. Mostly praying to them specifically.
Right.
But most of the miracles happen when people are alive.
Right.
Sometimes it has to do with touching the cloth
Uh-huh.
of a saint. There are a
Okay.
lot of miracles associated with touching, objects of saints.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. And so that's really amazing, and thank you for sharing that with us. Um, so tell me about tell me about your workflow in being a store owner and a practitioner and a creator and an author. Like, how do you possibly do all that?
How do I? Like I really believe it or not, I literally have slowed down in my own perception of reality. I'm very like have to always be creating and doing. Otherwise, I feel lazy. I know that sounds weird.
Mm,
It's hard not to just feel lazy, and that I have to read those memes or those positive affirmations of like how
right.
important rest is sometimes. Doing
Yes.
nothing is as important
Yeah,
as.
it is.
The flow. How do I? A lot of times I get up early and I do a bunch of work before I leave for my store. Sometimes even
Mhm.
clocking into my like I can go to my PC uh,
Right.
from home and place orders for the store from home when I have total silence. My husband might still be sleeping. I'm having my morning coffee. It's very
Right.
relaxed and it's fun. I can have
Hmm.
more fun with it. So I'll place orders online that way from home and
Hmm.
have a full day of work. And then when I come home, I often only do a small amount of work after, store work, the crystal
Right.
garden store work
Right.
then. But then I have this year, because we have a slowdown in the retail world and the metaphysical stores, as you may
Yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
not as busy. It will come back. A this
Right.
year will be 37 years old. So I know we
Wow.
have these economic cycles. So
Yes.
now I'm taking Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at home to write.
Nice.
Or
You're
maybe
going to need it for a 12-book series.
I do. Do. I do. Well, this
Wow.
doesn't take quite as much research. It's more of putting all my thoughts together kind of
Got
thing.
it.
Where like
Okay.
other books I had to do a lot of research.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of the information is inherent and it's just writing it the right way so that it makes sense and
So it fits
you
your
know,
angle.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get into the metaphysical business?
Thank you for asking. I just love this particular story. So, once upon a time, when I was a little girl, I was trained, so to speak, in and my father's good friend taught me and told me about the power of positive thought, the magic of believing. I read the Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz at a very young
Mhm.
age, like preteens. And also he introduced me to Edgar Casey and the Association of Research and Enlightenment. Plus, then my mother as well, even though she was a devout Roman Catholic Italian woman, she also had a very, if you will, strega side. She probably
Mhm.
rolled around me saying strega, but so she was metaphysical, but I didn't
Mhm.
realize that word associated with me growing up
Right.
at all when I was in that. We would
Right.
read the astrology column. I did all, a lot of reports when I was younger where you have a free essay. It's like, okay, I'll do mine on astrology, things of
Right.
that nature.
Yes.
But she also taught me telepathy as at a young age. So telepathic
Yes.
communication,
Mhm.
mostly because we didn't have cell phones and or
Right.
ways to communicate with dad, who was a contractor out on somewhere.
Right.
So to make it a shorter story, because this can be a long story, um, I went into the mortgage banking business. I really just made a big jump. I went into the mortgage banking business for 12 years. I loved it. I was in senior management when the 1987 stock market crash happened.
Wow.
And so I was managing a Boston firm here in Boca Raton, Florida.
Mhm.
I had to close down that for them, and with that closed me down too. I was
Right.
under contract, so I got paid for a while. Thank you very much.
Right.
And while I was
Transition.
yeah, yeah, for the transition, it was very, very nice. Plus I have very generous parents, so that was, I didn't have to really worry, thank God.
Right.
But I was very identified with being a mortgage banker. I was good at it. I loved it. I had my staff. I used to even sell mortgages in the secondary market and on Wall Street. Like I just loved that business. But
Right.
all that was a really great foundation for what I'm doing now. And so in the time that I wallowed in being like, what am I going to do?
Mhm.
I couldn't get a job because I was an upper management. It was harder to get
Right.
placed.
Right.
So I opened a store in the meantime.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
in between, in
In between
between.
time.
So in the meantime, but it's now 37 years. This August will be 37 years, and
Wow.
it's a beautiful thing. I would say the first 18 years, I had no idea what I was doing.
Mhm. Yes, that's funny.
Something like that. Maybe
Well,
it
there
was
are so many
15.
details. I
It's
mean,
a lot of moving parts when you run a retail business. It's a lot of different kinds of merchandise, and plus I have me as an author and me as a presenter, and
right.
I'm an aromatherapist, and I have a wholesale division too. With
Right.
all the sprays that are just so yummy.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's my aromatherapy desk over here. That's where I make my blends. I love
Yum.
it.
So, yeah, it's like there are so many details. Like you said, there's so many different vendors and so many different things. And then there's the knowledge base. You know what I mean? And certainly, you gain a knowledge base over time. But in metaphysics or spirituality in general, there's always something new to know. And
That's
no,
true.
none of us can ever really be experts forever and ever because there's always something new to know.
That's how I feel
So,
about expert in anything. True. I agree.
absolutely, so wow, that's it. So that's interesting. So why did you choose a metaphysical store? What was
I
that just
think
like a foregone conclusion for
no,
you?
no, that's a good one. I missed that part of the story. So while I was a mortgage banker before the
Mhm.
stock market crashed, I was one of my friends had her and her girlfriend were going to Arkansas to buy crystals and
Mm,
crystal mining too, both, to dig and to get crystals. And they when they came back, they really wanted to make it into a business. So they asked me if I would be a partner, a investor.
okay,
And, so I was like, I'll be a silent partner, but
right.
there is nothing silent about me. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm too like active, moving forward, it's like, I'm
Feeling
very.
big things and wanting to talk about it.
Yes. So, that was already in place with
Right.
having these quartz crystals. It was mostly clear quartz and rose quartz. And we
Hmm.
would go to people's houses as a and do like Tupperware shows. We set up all the crystals. So that
Wow.
when this happened, then it evolved that the idea came to mind. I did always want many years ago before I became a banker. I always
Right.
thought it would be nice to have a store or mostly a store that had like unusual gifts, very homey feeling, and that it smells amazing. That was one of my things. I wanted it to smell. So when people
Yeah.
walked in, I wanted the aroma to embrace them and they could
Yeah.
feel good. And my store definitely does that for people. People like love
Nice.
the energy of the store. They'd say it's such a high vibration. And
Yeah.
I love to
Absolutely.
hear that feedback because that's my intention, so you want
Yes,
that to
of
be
course.
true.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so does our mother Cabrini, does she have a specific herb or scent or tincture or something that you have designed to go with her?
I haven't. I have about 65, 63, or 65 different blends. I never did one for Mother Cabrini. I did, so I have like 12 archangels that I've
Right.
created. I
Okay.
have St. Francis of Assisi, Jesus the
Uh-huh.
Christ, Mary Magdalene,
Nice.
Kuan Yin, which is not Christian, but it's
Yeah.
still a deity like a saint.
Yeah.
Um, Ganesha. Ganesha's a
Hmm.
big favorite. And then I have other things like my smudge and spray, which is, my number one bestseller and is a
Yeah.
cover iconic award winner. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, and a lot of just basic like eucalyptus and a calm things like that are going
Right.
to help people like in a spa type setting. You know,
Right.
yeah.
That was totally
Now,
like angel wings bell.
thank you. That's why I have it, so it's not so offensive when it rings. Get a lot of spam phone calls, but thank goodness with the watch I can stop it really fast.
Hilarious. Oh my goodness. So if you were to give one piece of advice to somebody who wants to create a business in any of these aspects of the metaphysical business or the mind body spirit marketplace, what would that one piece of advice be?
It can,
Go.
it can be long information, but just a piece of advice.
Yes.
How much time? No. So the thing that came to mind immediately is to grow organically, to like don't overbuy immediately, like
Mm,
find your how deep in product you can go, how unless you have a really big savings account to lean on,
right.
because you need a lot of money to make this happen, and
Right.
or you're happy with having a decent sized line of credit. It's like, because I've seen stores go really gangbusters and making beautiful uh, fancy bags and matching paper and spending money on things that they're not even established. They haven't even made it to the 5 year mark. So to
Right.
me, it's like take it a step at a time
Yeah.
and little by little. But if you have a lot of money and you want to
Yeah.
go for it, but be
Yeah.
careful. You don't know what your market is going to accept and what's going to sell.
Right, absolutely. And that's so interesting that you said you're not even to the 5 year mark. Like, I think that there's a lot of there's a whole new crop of owners and practitioners and people who their mindset is, well, within a year it should be successful. And yes, that is not true. You really have to be dedicated to the concept for 10 years, and then you'll know whether or not you're successful.
Yes. I was just thinking that. I was thinking it takes 10 years or
Mhm.
10,000 hours to become an overnight success, was a
Right.
quote from Outliers. I can't remember
Yes.
the author's name at this moment, but it's a very good book. And
Yes.
yes, it will come to me. I can Google it real quick while
I
we're
know.
talking.
I can see his. I can
I
see
can
the title and his face in my mind.
exactly. I don't know
Yes.
if I should open a new browser or if I lose you. I don't. No, I won't. Okay, there we go. Outliers author is Malcolm Gladwell. There
Malcolm
we go.
Gladwell.
I
That's
felt
right.
like he deserved to have that. It's an excellent book, and
Yes. It really
he
is.
it is. And that, it's like there are certain and that is a very good example, the outliers. Like if you are born into wealth, you have different advantages, and then a store from there can blossom in a different way.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Whereas somebody who doesn't have the finances, I would say take it organically, do it a little at a time and keep reinvesting back into the business. I had other sources of income. I didn't live off of
You didn't need
art.
this, right? Well,
No.
and
I
I think
still don't need to do this. I'm doing this because it's my passion. I have to because, the big
right.
divine is, guiding
Absolutely.
me. Yes.
Absolutely. I think too, though, that even if you have a lot of money and you can, furnish your store and make it amazing on opening day, you it takes time for people to trust you. It takes time for people to come back to you. It takes time for you to create that vibration to attract the people who are looking for that sort of thing from other places.
True.
And so it's still not, success is shown in many different ways, not just financially.
Exactly. Very well put. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think the mindset, like if you're going to make the investment at all, you really need to commit to the mindset of a decade.
Definitely, definitely. And
Yeah.
I'm still learning so much, and I'm almost to 40 years, it's like,
Yeah.
wow. And I'm still learning always.
Yeah. Well, this has been just amazing. Is there anything so how, if people want to reach, do you just still do personal sessions or?
Mostly if, personal sessions like past life regression therapy or cord
Mhm.
cutting ceremonies, those two are what I offer if people want that. And I also
Great.
do them in group settings as well. So to reach me, it's margaretannlembo.com is like just the easiest, as just to
Okay.
go to my full name, margaretannlembo.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, a lot of good information. I'm on YouTube. So
Okay.
it's some of it's entertaining, some of it's
Right.
educational, some of it's my garden, because I love
Yes.
to garden.
Yeah.
So
Okay, wonderful. So
yeah.
margaretannlembo.com. Thank you so much, Margaret. It's really a pleasure to sit and take this time to chat. So you said you were in Boca Raton?
I literally am in Palm Beach County. I'm about 20 minutes to a half an hour north of Boca Raton, and my store is Boynton Beach, Florida. And the
Okay.
store's address is thecrystalgarden.com. And if you want to, we do a Facebook Live every Tuesday. We have a good time, and you get to see
Yes.
the latest merchandise coming in. It's fun. It's a
Very
fun time.
nice. Well,
Yeah.
I am so glad to have had this time. Thanks so much to take. I
Thank,
know you have 1,000 things you're working on, so I appreciate you so much. And
thank
good
you.
luck with your 12-book series. I can't wait for it to come out.
Me
And
too.
have a wonderful rest of your day. And
You
thank
too.
you, everybody, for joining us today.